Okay, color me interested. Chapter 1144 of One Piece. Color me completely interested here. We get some new world building. We also get some further explanations of what it is that's going on in terms of all the monsters that are being seen. And it does kind of seem like Oda is going with what I was thinking, that this would be like a setup of monsters, almost like gods and monsters. And that's got to be intentional, because as I was looking at some of the designs, it didn't really hit me until now. It should have, because how Loki is referenced, and also just like the way that the giants and everything are presented, like it should have hit me that we were going to see some of the mythology aspect, mythology, gods, creatures. It just hit me until now. It's like, this is what I mean when I say like One Piece is one of those series where I get so caught up in just reading that number one, I have to stop myself. And then number two, I get to a point where it just really just kicks me in the nuts, because I just feel like a little kid all over again. So just back things up. So we open up this one, and the first thing that stood out to me is like Franky is looking at this building. He's like, this looks like straight science to me. It's like some kind of mechanical figure. And now I'm going, okay, like this is giving me flashbacks of what happened in Egghead. This got to be some more of that ancient technology. And what I like is that, Franky's like, how can a facility like this even exist in a kingdom of warriors? This doesn't make sense. And then sure enough, that's when we transition over and we catch back up with Bonney and with Lilith, and the fact that Lilith is there and she's so fascinated. And it's like, okay, like this has got to be, again, something similar to what we saw down there at Egghead. And so I'm kind of wondering, is this going to be like another flashback to Nika, the sun god, Joy Boy? It's got to be something. It's got to be something there, just because, again, Gunko talked about how she was afraid of Nika. So maybe this is something that goes all the way back to the time of Nika. But it's going to be very interesting, because in this chapter, one of the things they talk about is that this tree has been there for, or building has been there for at least 3 millennia. And 3 millennia was bolted. And that's where I started thinking, wait a second. This devil fruit that Luffy has is super old. And just the One Piece world in general, there's a lot of stuff we don't know. And it's not just limited to the Void era. And so that is something where I'm following that in the back of my head just to see where this is going. At first, when they arrived there and I thought it was a tree, I'm like, okay, Franky's going to try and take some of the wood and make upgrades to the ship. That's where my mind went at first. And while some of that might happen, the fact that even Lilith is sitting there saying like, I just want to study this all the more. Maybe I'll sit down there and I'll live here. And the reason why that got me is she's super smart. She's Vegapunk. So at some point, once she puts her mind to it and she really starts thinking about it, she's immediately going to get the answer. And this is going to lead to some upgrades. And it's also going to lead to some really fun world building. You can already tell where Oda's taking this. And what I like is that that's when we meet Lightning, the Cloud. And at first, again, I look at that and I'm like, everything kind of matches up with some of the Straw Hats, like Zeus, and then you got the Lightning Cloud. And so that's why I thought maybe it'd be Nami that ends up fighting this one in particular. That's not the case. It looks like it's going to be Franky and Bonney, and that's probably where that's going to go. And so Franky gets the explanation of like, yo, this ain't anything I've ever seen on Elbaph before. And then that's when we transition over and we see Dragor, I probably said the name wrong, I apologize, but basically it's this big zombie, and you get the comedic moment where even Brooke is like, this looks awfully familiar. It's like, when the anime does this, I gotta see it, because I can just picture Brooke, because he's probably telling it as a joke, because he's like, it's an enormous me, and I can already hear the laugh in his head. Like, that's one of the things I do. I looked up some of Brooke's clips, and that is something I do find funny, like the laugh, especially in the Japanese version. I love Brooke, man. So what I like is that after this takes place, that's where we see Usopp, and, he was super drunk before, and he was like, don't treat us with kid gloves. And he's like, we want to fight too. And it's like, Usopp is so much of a coward that once shit hits the fan, he got scared drunk. Oh, excuse me, he went from drunk to scared sober. And that's hilarious in of itself. Like, you have all these giants who are trying to sober up and everything, and Usopp is like, okay, either you are not that drunk, or this was a situation where you were just literally scared completely sober. And what I like is that even Jinbei calls it out. And he's like, you said that really quiet. And knowing Usopp, this is going to be a moment where he's going to flip this. Like, he's got that same characteristic to him that Buggy does. He's going to flip this and somehow get credit for it. And what I like is that Nami, as all the chaos is going on and Kalun is running off, Nami, she's got the speech bubble and there's no words there. And it's showing that she's thinking. And we find out that what she was thinking about is, being the smart cookie that she is, she immediately connects it to, hey, there's somebody that was here earlier that was moving in a pair that looked a lot like Shanks. I need to go ahead and tell Jarul the truth. And so they get caught up on the information. So they make the announcement that there are 2 more humans inside of Elbaph who have no connection to the Straw Hats, which they have to explain that. That way there's not any friendly fire. And they say they probably have devil fruit powers. And now you see, like, now that they know exactly what it is that they're dealing with and why all the fears that the kids were drawing are seemingly coming to life, now you see exactly how they're going to begin to fight back. And so I'm kind of wondering, because, like, it kind of felt like, and maybe it was just me, because, like, not Elbaph, but Egghead was a shorter arc than Wano, but it felt short. But it also felt long. I'm not sure if that makes sense, because, like, Egghead was just so much of an emotional drain on you. But, like, when you go back and you read the chapters, it reads, like, super, super fast. And with this, I'm getting the same vibe. Like, it kind of feels like Oda is going straight for the fights here. It feels like he's going straight for the fights, but I don't think that these are going to be final battle fights. I know that the Straw Hats are separated to a degree here, but I don't think that this is not necessarily going to be over with too quickly. And so I am curious about that. And Oda teases is the Dory and Brogy thing of, like, hey, where are they? And, like, they're in the bathroom, Chief. And, they're basically being called lightweights. And that's when Kalun is like, Kalun pirates, join me, because Nami and the rest of the Straw Hats like, hey, we're going to take forever trying to search this island. And Nami clocks right away that Kalun was basically making off with weapons, etc. And Nami, it's the thing with Nami and the kids, man. Like, Nami's like, it's so adorable. And what I like here is that Kalun is acting a lot like Luffy. Like, if Luffy was a giant, that would be some shit that Luffy would do. So I thought that was kind of cool. And I do like how when we do check in with Gunko and with Somers and the rest of the Holy Knights, it goes by quickly, but we just see more of the personality. And I like that the song that's being played is New World. And it's like, is that like a meta reference? Was Oda doing something meta there? And then we move over and we have how Saul's trying to get creative and trying to stop the kids from walking down that path and everything. And he's trying to protect them. He's trying to get creative. He's got these shields and he's just trying to stop them just because he can't touch them. And so that is a smart plan. And yet at the same time, we find out that it's not that simple. If you stop them from walking in order, you're going to hurt one of the other kids because of the spikes. And so Saul tries to get more creative. And so he takes this lasso and he's basically saying we're going to have to peel them off one at a time. But before he can go any further, Fenrir, which is another one, and I want to say I remember this name from Black Clover somewhere. I want to say I remember this name from Black Clover, at least from Black Clover. It's got to be something Norse because, and I'm thinking about Noct, and one of the devils he has a contract with, because it looks similar too. So it's one of those things like this has got to be a lot of Norse stuff here. Like when this arc is done, I'm gonna have to look it up and see how much Norse stuff is there just beyond what you saw with not Mjolnir, but Ragnar and with Loki. But the other thing on it is we shift over and we see this big dragon, and that's Needlehogger and a ghost. And so we're seeing again like what people are afraid of, the kids are afraid of, that it looks like they wrote, which now I'm wondering like when they because I believe they wrote everything down what they're afraid of and like they're what they're drawing. I'm wondering if like this was already premeditated before that, and that's how we're getting some of this. Like there's devil fruit fuckery going on here. We all pretty much are in agreement there because the story's telling us, but this is very well executed. And it does feel like Shamrock had a lot of this shit in motion before. And maybe I'm giving Shamrock too much credit. And so that's where we shift over and we end the chapter off. And Dory and Brogy and Gabon, they're ready to go. And it took me out for a second because Gabon also goes by Mr. Ya. But it does look like this is going to be a big fight. Now, I do want to say, even though they did seemingly one-shot Needlehogger, what I like is that just based on how complex everything's been, I don't think that this is it, number one. And then number two, for a moment, I was thinking like, it's kind of funny that Lilith has the issue of getting lost the same way that Zoro did. Like, that's got to be intentional by Oda there, man. But overall, this was a fun chapter. Like, this went by very quickly. You know, as you guys know, I really love when we get seeds being planted and we get additional world building. And I'm so excited just at the possibility of additional world building. Like, this is going to be good. I can already tell this is going to be good. You know, One Piece is not one of those series that I read for the fights. I read for everything else. I read for the character interactions. I read for the character arcs. I read for the world building. Like, Oda's got me hooked, man. So this is going to be my chapter question. You guys, what do you specifically read One Piece for? Do you read it for the fights? Do you read it for the adventure? Do you read it for the characters? Do you read it for the world building? What is the one thing you always look forward to when you read a One Piece chapter? But so always, guys, if you have anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching on to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.